Welcome to the Igniting the CEO Within podcast, where we interview successful, high-level professionals to discover lessons they've learned throughout their career that help ignite that CEO within you. I'm Mark McFatridge, and I'll be your host for the next 15 minutes or so. Our show is sponsored by Quaid, a nationwide community of CEOs and entrepreneurs. Quaid has developed Launchpad, which offers an opportunity for experienced executive coaches and strategic advisors to become licensed circle directors and earn significant recurring revenues. After completing the Launchpad program, you'll lead your own peer advisory circles, helping other CEOs and entrepreneurs excel in their professional and personal lives while providing a community of support, accountability, and challenge. If you'd like to learn more, go to quaidcircle.com. On our show today, we have Jane Williams, executive coach for Virtual Cubist out of Warrenton, Missouri. Jane, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear and to meet you and talk about all things leadership.
All things.
All things. Let's go. Hey, so you work with all kinds of people in your coaching practice. You've seen all kinds of stuff. When you start to look at those excellent leaders, they tend to have different traits than people who aren't. And there are some certain things that stand out. To you, what things have you identified that really separate those really good leaders from the not so good leaders?
That's a fantastic question, and anybody could answer that a million ways. But I think to me, a lot of leaders, and I come from the IT field, so I have a lot of experience there. But a lot of leaders become a leader because they're pushed into it. They've been a great professional,
Mhm.
and somebody said you're going to have a promotion, so now we think it's a great thing to have all the direct reports. So now you're a leader. Voila.
Mhm.
And I think number one, the first thing is you got to understand what it takes to be a leader, what it means, and you got to want to be one. And you've got
Mhm.
to understand that it's a different job from what you've been doing. It's
Yeah.
not it's a leadership job. The second thing I think I look for that makes people successful is, and I'm going to call it honest empathy. It's understanding the people, not fake. Like, we've all had managers that come down and say, "How are you doing?" And they don't care.
Right.
But I mean, any manager and a leader needs to understand the people that they're working with. It's like knowing the tools of your trade, right?
Mhm.
So you understand and you care about the people, you know how to motivate them. You don't do a one size fits all, and you trust those people to be themselves. And so you have to do that thing. You have to understand the people. You have to understand that it is people. You have to want the job to be able to lead them. You have to be empathetic and understand that there are different kinds of followers. And not everybody is a good follower. Not everybody's a great leader, but not everybody's a good follower either. So to me, that's it. I mean, it's having that empathy and having that desire, and then just keeping an open mind and understanding the strategic goals of your business, staying focused on bringing that down to your team so they understand what they're doing, why they're
Mhm.
showing up every morning, understanding them as a group, and then leading them towards a goal that you want and that you are bought into
Yeah, I like that.
authentically.
There's a ton to unpack there. I want to go. I don't think we've touched on this topic. If we have, it hasn't been for a while. But the movement from technician to leader or
Yeah.
tactician to leader. That you're right. That can be a challenging piece, right? Just because you're a good whatever IT technician or salesperson or whatever doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to transition very easily into that next leadership role. I like what you said about wanting to do that, right? Let's take a step back and go, do I really want to do this? And if so, let's figure it out. But when you start to have people in your groups or client base that have that opportunity to move up, what are some of those questions that you ask them to ask themselves, number one, and then number two, how do you guide them to make that decision to want to move from the technician side to the leader side?
That's another good question. Not everybody does it. I mean, some people during
Mhm.
coaching decide that that's really not what they want.
Yeah.
I think when I first take on a new client, it's amazing. It's like that first session we'll have. They're like, "I want to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this." And I say, "Okay." And let's talk about some things. And in our next session, you come back and you give me 3 things that you want to achieve, and it usually will be different.
Hmm.
than what they said initially. So I think to that
Well,
to,
what change?
you know,
That's great. What changes? Like what are you asking them to come back with that makes them change like that? Because I think this is really fascinating.
yeah, I'm asking them to think, what does success mean to you? So right now, you may be in a position. I have a client that was offered a promotion. She looked at it from all sides and she decided that, we talked about it a long time, promotion, yeah, yeah, yeah. But she thought about it and it really wasn't where she wanted to be.
Hmm.
So you've got to have a good idea of what you want to do and not what someone else wants you to do.
Yeah.
So
How do you help them figure that out? Like, because that sounds easy, right? I mean, oh yeah, I want to do this or I want to do that, but it's not. It's more than that.
you ask questions. So you get into what gets you up in the morning? What makes you excited? What do you a lot of the things I'll say in 2 years, where do you wanna be in this job? Where do you wanna
Mhm.
be? And if they can't come up with a good answer right away to that job, then we start exploring. What are some of the options you have? And just asking those leading questions to get coaching is about everybody comes into a coaching situation, I believe, with everything they need to be doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
You just need to help them understand that.
Yeah.
And so you're sitting there doing a lot of active listening and you just draw it out and people you'd be amazed at what people, oh, I didn't want to do that.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. No, that's
I was with a coach for a while who wanted me, I was going to be a consultant, wanted to be a consultant after I retired. And I decided after 4 weeks, I don't want to be a consultant. So,
yeah.
that's what you decide.
Yeah. So, all right, I interrupt you. Keep keep
No.
keep going back to that movement from tactician or technician
Yeah.
to leader. So sorry.
Yeah. You have to trust people. I think the biggest thing I see is people saying, I need to help them do it. They can't do it by themselves. They can't, yeah, they can.
Hmm.
They can't. And if you could take a vacation for a week, would your team still be able to function? Yes, they would. So trust the team to do it. Learn when you become a leader, it becomes so much more important to manage up and to manage sideways. You already pretty much know that team and you know how to manage down, but you got to put your focus on learning how to strategically position your folks. So you got
Yeah.
another job. And
Say more about that. What does that look like? Yeah, what is that? What do you mean by managing up and managing sideways? Because I agree with you. I just want to hear your version.
I think one of the exercises I do with my clients a lot is to do what we call an influence map. So, all the people that touch you and you affect them and look at how they affect your life. So, if I as an IT manager, if I don't understand I worked for a higher ed institution, okay? So I don't if I understand how installing that CRM system is going to help achieve greater student satisfaction, I can then articulate that to leadership. I can articulate that to my people.
Hmm.
Everybody feels better about the role of IT.
Hmm.
So that's your job as a leader is to get plugged into the strategic goals of that business and be able to translate that and work the power, know the people above you who affect what you do, and know the people on the side who can help you or hurt you. So,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I like that. I agree with you. I think at every level, being able to communicate vision, where are we going? How are we going to get there? And then what you're talking about right now is what is your role to help us get there? And
Yes.
if you're a leader who can communicate those three things, it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, a lot of leaders make the mistake of thinking they're just there to teach their people how to do their job better. And no,
Mhm.
you're not. You're there to trust them to do their jobs better and to help them get what they need to do their jobs better. But that's what you're there for, not to do the job.
Yeah.
And that's really hard.
It is hard. It is hard. So how do you help people understand that, right? Again, I keep harping back on this movement from into your first leadership role, for example, um, uh, helping people understand that they're not going to be able to achieve everything that they want to achieve by doing the stuff that they were doing before, and how to make that stuff happen through other people is the key to success.
Yeah.
Are there specific exercises or conversations that you're having with people as you're coaching them to get to that level?
We work a lot on storytelling.
Mhm.
Um, I see so many people who have great ideas, but they don't know how to tell anybody or convince anybody of it. And you've got to have a little bit of the marketer in you
Mhm.
when you become a leader. That I do that a lot. We do reframe a story. Tell me that story, and then let's reframe that in a way that makes more sense. So, um, our team just crashed. We had a failure in IT. I always go back to IT, but we had a failure. So, okay, that's fine. You had a failure. Let's reframe that and look at what we did, and let's build up better so this doesn't happen again. So it's that level of focus, I think.
Yeah. Well, I like that. I haven't heard that in a while in one of these conversations of everybody's a salesperson, right? Like if you say, I want you to do sales, people immediately cringe or like, oh, I'm never going to do sales. I'm like, no, you've got to do sales in every role of your life, whether it's
Yeah.
professional, personal, or family or whatever. You've got to, if you want to do anything, you've got to be able to convince people. And I love your storytelling component of that. That makes a ton of sense.
So many people, if they're locked into a job, don't know how to communicate to another executive of what's important to that executive. Get in that head of that person and what
Uh-huh.
keeps them at night. They don't want to hear what you're interested in, all the bits and details. They want to hear what they are interested in. So I think that's when I say managing up is think about what keeps those people up at night and what can you do to help them. So it's getting that out of that mindset and getting into that perspective. It's hard
Yeah,
for people to do that.
it is hard. Do you utilize a lot of assessments like DISC is a perfect example for this, right? Of to understand a how you communicate, but as importantly, maybe even more importantly, is to help identify how other people communicate so that, if you're a super detailed person and the other person's not, you teach them, okay, go in and use bullet points. But do you use assessments like DISC and stuff like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, and that goes down to knowing your people and understanding,
Yeah.
how to motivate people. Quick story. We had a layoff, a massive layoff in a large department. We all went through it. It happened right before Christmas, so we were doing it in a hurry, and it was horrible. We did the 50% layoff. We came back and we were not functioning. And my boss went in and got a consultant to come in, and we all had the same quadrant. We
Yeah.
unwittingly kept all of the people that we liked.
Yeah.
So we had a bunch of visionaries and we had no one down here who could actually get anything done. So it's important.
It's really important. This has been really good. I appreciate you taking the time. Let me ask you one last question.
Okay.
Actually, I'm going to ask you two, but I'm gonna, one question is, if you think back to 21-year-old Jane, what is one thing that you wish she knew that you've learned over time?
Believe in myself. I was very, very attuned to criticism, taking what people said and believing it and internalizing it.
Mm,
And no, believe in yourself. Listen to other people. But yeah, I think I wish I had the confidence. I had confidence in myself, but I didn't have the presence, that gravitas. So go out there,
yeah,
talk to people and learn that. Yeah, I wish I'd done that.
yeah, that's good. That's really good. That's good. So, talk real briefly about what does an engagement with you and Virtual Cubist look like, number one, and then number two, how can people get a hold of you?
Okay. I'm on LinkedIn. You can get me there. I also have a findyourfirecoach.com is a website where you can get in touch with me as well. But LinkedIn is a really good way to get in touch with me. And coaching engagements, I have three main kinds. A very small group of people will come to me and say, listen, I've got a presentation I got to do in 2 months. Let's work on this. So we will focus on that 2 to 3 months and get that done and get you ready for that. Then a 6
Mhm.
months, which is really, just I just needed to level set and get myself going. And then there's people who just a year-long engagement where they really, really wanna focus on getting a new job or starting a business or something like that. So it's
Mhm.
three tiers.
Yeah, I like it. And
Yeah.
typically in the IT field, or are you more broad than that?
I'm burning out, but a lot of it ends up being IT just because of my past expertise.
Awesome. Hey, thank you for taking some time and hanging out with me today. This has been fun.
Thank you. It was fun. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, y'all. We've done it one more time. We found another amazing leader to share her incredible insights and experiences. So that's going to wrap up another episode of Igniting the CEO Within. As a reminder, all of our episodes are sponsored by Quaid, a nationwide community of CEOs and entrepreneurs. Quaid has created Launchpad, which provides an opportunity for experienced executive coaches and strategic advisors to become licensed circle directors and earn significant annual recurring revenues. To find out more, visit quaidcircle.com. Until next time, keep igniting that CEO within you. I'm Mark McFatridge. Thanks for listening.